Good morning once again. Mr. Tabuma Upa again here. Today I'm going to finish off grade E with the last module, which is module 13, titled Industrial Relations. That is where we are now. Right. Industrial relations, for maybe somebody who cannot understand, let me just say this. Industrial relations is about the relationship between the employer and the employee, or the employer and the employees, plural, or the workers and the boss. That their relationship, that is what we call industrial relations, which begins when you sign a contract. As soon as you finish signing a contract, there are certain clauses in those contracts which may refer to working hours, public holidays, any perks, and behavior, the general behavior that is expected of you. Like, let's say, not being under the influence of alcohol or drugs while on duty, things like that. Some can even they can even put a rule in the workplace which says no smoking in certain areas. And then there's also rules which say you must not arrive late at work. You must always be punctual, even few minutes before time. All those things that are included in your contract of employment. That is where industrial relations start. Once you sign on the dotted line, you sign the contract, you have to comply with whatever rules and regulations that have been laid out by that organization or company. That's how it works. This is what we call industrial relations. Right. As you know that if they say you come 7:30 to 5:30, if you arrive late and give a verbal excuse, they will tolerate it first time. Then if you arrive late again and give lame excuses again, then they will give you a verbal warning. Right? Then you come late again, then they give you first written warning. You know where it's going already. You are going out the door if you continue doing that behavior. Those are the rules and regulations to make an employee to be focused on the work. All right. That's industrial relations. Then we have now certain grievances like salaries and stuff like where people go on strikes, what we call labor unrest, right? It's because of unresolved grievances that are there. But in any case, if you do it illegally or you do it individually, you might find yourself getting fired, disciplined and fired. That's where also industrial relations, it's in the midst of that. That's the interpersonal relationships of the workers and the superiors. Where we come now to the grievance procedure, there is a certain way which you must channel your grievances in the right way. Some, they actually fall under a union, because usually if you want to confront the employers, they will come with certain things that they can end up firing you. They do like that all the time. Right. So that's where grievance procedure functions. Right? Then we can be having people like shop stewards. We've got unions. Even some use lawyers also in that case. So that is about industrial relations. Let's look now at the objectives by the book. On completion of this module, the student must, one, be able to identify the importance and list the functions of the disciplinary code, number one. Must be able to identify the importance and list the functions of the grievance procedure. So we've got one disciplinary code, two grievance procedure. They are expected to maintain, must be clearly understood, committed and accepted. Right. The main objective of the disciplinary code is to bring an employee back to acceptable standards of behavior and performance, not to punish or get rid of him. That is the main objective of the disciplinary code. Right? To bring an employee back to acceptable standards of performance and behavior, not to punish or get rid of him. They want him to come back to the way how we must work. That's why, hence, they set up all those like rules and regulations. That is the main objective of the disciplinary code, because they will discipline you so that you stop bad behavior. Right. The importance of this model. Every security officer must know the disciplinary code and the grievance procedure so that you know what to do. Right? On the disciplinary code, you have to follow the regulations. Right? And then grievance procedure, you must know the channel, how you channel your grievances. Whatever grievances you have, there are certain channels that you must use. Right. Aims of the disciplinary code, which is the first one. Number one, it is vital in any organization and is initiated by the management in response to unsatisfactory worker performance and behavior. It's done by management in response to unsatisfactory worker performance and behavior. So if you are doing bad, that's now they initiate the disciplinary code. Number two, to help management to achieve a sound state of discipline. It will actually assist management to achieve a sound state of discipline in the workplace. Number three, the disciplinary code is not a substitute for performance, right? According to management, but is an expression of company policy on discipline. It does not substitute the management, but is an expression of company policy on discipline. So it doesn't substitute the management. It doesn't want to take the management roles and responsibilities, right? Right. To minimize disciplinary problems, do you know what happens if you want to minimize them in the workplace? The rules which the employers are required to keep and the standards which they are required to comply to. All right. Let's look now, that is now the disciplinary code, which is done. The grievance procedure now can be defined as any dissatisfaction or feeling of injustice the employee might have in connection with his employment situation. Right? Any feeling of injustice or dissatisfaction, you are not satisfied, or you feel like it's not justified what is happening to you, right? In connection with your employment situation. Number two, the grievance procedure engenders a feeling of security with the security officer by allowing him a formal step-by-step procedure airing his complaints. That's how it works. The number five, the objective of the grievance procedure is to help parties resolve their grievances in the interest of productivity and stability. That is the main objective of the grievance procedure, right? It is to help parties, which parties? The employers and the employees, right? Resolve their grievances in the interest of productivity so that the work can carry on and stability. Then there is no havoc in the workplace. Right. Grievance is best handled and resolved at lower levels as quickly as possible, because if it escalates, then it will be difficult to control. Right. Unresolved grievances create conflict in the workplace. If they are not resolved, there is likely to be conflict, and it is very important that they are solved as quickly as possible to avoid conflict. Right. Discipline, like under the disciplinary code, discipline is vital in all organized groups action and is initiated by management in response to unsatisfactory worker performance or behavior. It is essential for the well-being of the individuals and the successful achievement of the organization's objectives. In the work organization, skill in achieving a sound state of discipline is an important qualification for the supervisor. But to assist the supervisor in this management area, the company requires a set of rules in order that all employees are fully aware of what is expected of them. Those rules generally known as the disciplinary code. As I was saying, They put those rules and regulations so that you must comply. Coming from your contract, it's been laid out. All right. And then a code of this nature cannot possibly cover every specific case that will occur. Employees using the code will be required to use their direct discretion within the framework of and in accordance with the spirit of the code. So the employees must follow, like it or not, they have to follow, because that's what they agreed to when they signed the contract. This document is not intended to be a substitute for good management. As I was saying, it's not a substitute or something, a tool that has been put to represent management. No, but it's an expression of company policy on discipline. That's how the company expresses its policy on discipline, which must be followed. And a guide to the various levels of management required to administer discipline. It is accepted in principle that the disciplinary procedures are the prerogative of management, which is true. That is the prerogative. Prerogative simply means to say it's a main aim, right? Or it's a choice which the company makes, right? It must be borne in mind, though, that the prime reason for disciplinary action is to encourage improvement and responsibility in an employee. A system designed to promote orderly conduct involving the creation of an attitude and organizational climate where employees willingly conform to established rules. The main objective of the disciplinary procedure is therefore to bring an employee back to acceptable standards of behavior and performance, not to punish or get rid of it. That is the main objective. We only have 2 questions under this module. Question 1, explain the disciplinary code, right? The main objective of the disciplinary code is to bring an employee back to acceptable standards of behavior and performance, not to punish or get rid of it. That's the main objective of the disciplinary code. That's question 1. Question 2, explain the main objective of the grievance procedure. The main objective of the grievance procedure is to help parties solve their grievances in the interest of productivity and stability. That's it. Thank you very much for listening to my video. I am done now with grade E, right? With this module 13 I've just done now. Later I'm going to do progress test 3, which is consisting of the last 4 modules. Module 10, correct use of a fire extinguisher. Module 11, basic radio and telephone communications. Module 12, basic legal aspects, as well as module 13, industrial relations. I'm going to do that later. Then we have the progress test. After that, then I do the final. Then we go to D. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll appreciate any of those. See you in the next one.